wipe Israel off the map, although every professor of Farsi from Tokyo to Timbuktu has already pronounced that actually he never said any such thing. But never mind. Iran doesn't have the means of wiping Israel off the map. But Israel has the means of wiping Iran off the map, and every other country in the region too. And we know that because the brave Jew Mordechai Vanunu went to prison for 20 years for telling us that they did. These falsehoods are to mask the fact that the only country which has been wiped off the map is Palestine. Go to your atlas and see. So until there is a Palestine back on the map, until the Palestinian people can return to their land and their homes, until Jerusalem is again a capital of a Palestinian state, until Palestine has an Arab border, there can be no peace, because there is no justice. That's the long and the short of it. Now I supported the Oslo Agreement 16 years ago. I was always with Arafat. From my age of 21, I was with him in Paris, in the hospital when he died. And so I supported the Oslo Agreement. He persuaded me that because of the balance of force and power in the world, the pitiful, pitiful absence of any Arab factor in the equation, the collapse of the Soviet Union and the socialist camp, the unwillingness of the European Union and others to try to be a counterbalance to the United States, because of all these things, a compromise that would give the Palestinians just 23% of historic Palestine would have to be accepted. But in the 16 years since the Oslo Agreement was signed, in which this grotesque Berlin Wall has been built on illegally occupied Palestinian land, in which cities that they call settlements but are in fact cities, huge Beverly Hill type cities, have been built on illegally occupied Palestinian land. Because of the massacres in Gaza in 2008, 2009, because of the ethnic cleansing of Arab Jerusalem, the destruction of houses, the growth of military roads and hundreds upon hundreds of checkpoints, it is no longer possible, in my view, to separate out of this tiny piece of land two separate states, especially if the refugees are to exercise their legal right to return. So I say the best solution, the most just solution, the only democratic solution is to have one state from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, a binational state called Israel-Palestine or Palestine-Israel, call it in which order you like, in which the Jews, the Muslims and the Christians live as equal citizens under the law. What's wrong with that? What could conceivably be wrong with that? You could only oppose that if you insisted on a racist, exclusivist Jewish state, like Lieberman wants to pretend that Israel is. He's not a fringe character, he's the foreign minister of Israel. He has the power to bring down the Israeli government and make a new one. He has insisted that the non-Jews in what they call Israel must sign an oath of allegiance, an oath that accepts that they are living in a Jewish state. and thereby render themselves automatically second-class citizens in that state. You know, even the Ku Klux Klan wouldn't have tried that one down in Mississippi, asking the American blacks to sign an oath that they were living in a white country. I was myself, one of my comrades is here, for many, many years, an activist in the struggle against apartheid South Africa. I was one of the only people on the left in the world who actually was sent underground into apartheid South Africa as an organizer for the African National Congress. I was arrested and beaten in Guguletu Township in Cape Town. The man who beat me later had to wash my feet as a result of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. You see, struggles can be won. And by the way, in the time I spent underground in South Africa, every house in which I slept, every car in which I was driven, every dinner that I ate, every penny that I spent was given to me by Jewish members of the African National Congress. Jews don't have to be with apartheid. Jews don't have to be with the oppressor. But when the great struggle led by the African National Congress was victorious, when apartheid was smashed between the hammer of the armed struggle and the civil struggle of the masses in South Africa and the anvil of international solidarity around the world, the Boers, the settlers, the European settlers, just like the Israeli European settlers, they came to Mandela and they asked, can we just have a small piece of this country as a white republic within black South Africa? And Mandela answered, we don't believe in white states or black states, we just believe in democratic states where every person is the equal one of the other. And if it's good enough for South Africa, why isn't it good enough for Israel, Palestine, Palestine, Israel? Why should we fight for something we're never going to get? This so-called two-state solution, they're never going to give us it. Why should we fight for it? It's not just, it's not democratic, it's not principled. Let's gather under the banner of one democratic secular state in Palestine. That's what I invite you to do. But in any case, whatever your view on this, one thing is clear, and I come in my conclusion back to the original point. You only have a choice here in Canada and in other countries to decide whether you're with the occupier, whether you're with the rogue state, or whether you're with its victims. You know, the greatest injustice that has been visited upon the Palestinians is not the theft of their country. It's not the many, many sufferings that they have had to endure. The greatest insult which has been added to that injury is that the Palestinians, who are the victims of terrorism, are called the terrorists, and the Israelis, who are the terrorists, are called the victims of terrorism. This insult, added to the injury that the Palestinian people have suffered, is simply intolerable, and we should have no truck with it. We must tell the truth. The truth is that European settlers came and stole somebody else's country, drove them out, drove them from pillar to post, massacred them, occupied them, imprisoned them, assassinated them, and we're with the victims rather than with the criminals. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
brothers and sisters, settle down for a